All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. First and foremost, just want to thank our fans. That's the third sellout of the year through 6 games. I can't thank them enough for all their support and the atmosphere they created at Huntington Bank Stadium. It was electric. And then, obviously, the field storming at the end. That's what makes college football really special. I know people are trying to get that out of the game, and it's just so fun to see that, stopping in the tunnel and being able to look back. I mean, those are the moments and memories that you create, and had a lot of recruits here, which was really good for them to experience that atmosphere. And just can't thank our student body. And, it was family weekend, so it was interesting as we were driving by, all those family members out there in the yards. Looked like they were still in college, which was great, but they were part of the atmosphere, I'm sure, as well. And just can't thank our student body and our fans and our administration for all the work they do, and the ticket sales and the marketing they do. And so our job is to do everything we can to win football games and put the best product on the field. And I thought we played, all 60 minutes of football on Saturday, and that's what it came down to. I think as we've continued to go through this, you've always asked me, like, what are we going to do? What can you do better? What can you do this? I said 60 minutes of football. We played really good football at times this year. I mean, really dominating football. And we just haven't been able to sustain that throughout the entire game for some reason. And we were able to do it, which gives us an opportunity to beat an elite team like USC. And then it comes down to usually the last play and the end of the game, and we were able to make one more play. And really proud of our young people, really proud of our student athletes, really proud of the team, their response from Michigan, and the ability to flush that, learn from all that we can control, and then go out and have the week they did in preparation, and expect the same thing this week. I had a great team meeting yesterday. We were able to talk about it, what we have to do better. There's a lot of meat left on the bone. I mean, we still have so much room and so many areas we have to get better at, and we have to get better in those areas very, very quickly. And they're able to see it, put their leather vests on, and continue to get better. So it was a great win for our program, great win for our state, great win for our university. And but now we move on and look to be, everything we can do everything we can do to be 1-0 at UCLA.
What do you feel like were the keys to your success in the running game on Saturday?
Well, I think in the first quarter, I don't think it was as good. I think in the second, third, and fourth quarter, it was really good. I think when you watch our offensive line in the first quarter, I'm not saying there's a feeling out process throughout a game, but they're going to do some things that they get coached too. They're not going to just be where they're supposed to be and stay there and please don't move. They're going to do everything they can. But I thought in the second quarter, we came flying off the ball. Third quarter, flying off the ball. Fourth quarter, flying off the ball. I think our backs ran with legal violence, behind their pads, low, delivering blows, taking it to the defense, setting the tone of what the game was going to look like at a very early stage. I thought our tight ends blocked well. We had multiple wide receivers be players of the week for their blocking. That's one thing you have to do here. Not only catch passes and catch touchdowns and do all the fancy stuff. You've got to get down and dirty when it comes to the blocking piece. You've got to be a great blocker. And, you look at some of the best receivers in history, they were really good blockers. And they did it for their teammates. So that's how some of those come spitting out. We got guys working down the field. And I thought Max did a tremendous job of getting us in the right play. For the second week in a row, you're playing a defense that is very unpredictable. And the preparation that is like preparing for ghosts, but the ghosts are there. You just can't see them. And so you have to be able to figure out where they are. He did a tremendous job of getting us in the right play. What doesn't get enough attention is his brain. He is off the charts intelligent and off the charts football smart, and being able to get us in right situations. We can alert a lot of plays that more than we ever have, like two plays at the line of scrimmage. I mean, we've never really been able to do that, and he can do it, and it's a compliment to him. And I'm not saying we couldn't do that with the other quarterbacks, because it's our choice what we do, but the effectiveness he has by doing it is really impressive. So I think that's all the contributing factors. I thought Coach Harbaugh called a great game to keep our defense on their heels, not knowing what was coming. And again, I thought it was, you don't just have to throw it to run it. You can throw it to run it. You can screen it. You can draw it. You can do all types of stuff. And I think the more we learn about our football team, we find out what we can do better and what they can do better.
What's your evaluation of the offensive line after Saturday? And could you comment a little bit on the transition, Greg Johnson to the center position, how that's going?
Yeah, Dave, I think they're getting better. I know that's a little coach cliche when you ask how somebody's doing, but They're getting better. They're working incredibly hard. Coach Callahan's coaching them really hard. They play really well together. But, with some missing pieces, not missing pieces, but adding pieces along the way and rotating some guys, I think we found a really good core of what we feel can really move us forward. And also play some other guys too as we go forward, which we did in this game. But, I think they're coming off the ball a lot harder than they did at the beginning of the year. We've had some really complex defenses that we played in the first 6 games, which, again, everything's like donuts on the baseball bat. Not that, you're sitting there saying, okay, well, we're not playing complex defense as we move forward, because we will. But the ability to have a lot thrown at them early, I think, is really beneficial for them. They've seen almost every look you can see, every blitz you can see, every scheme you can see. And then you build confidence. And I think this past game they played for the last 3.5 quarters, I thought they played with incredible confidence. And they played holistically as one. And that's what you want to see from your O-line, that holistic approach, playing as one big amoeba moving forward. And I thought they did that.
And Greg?
Yeah, Greg's coming along. It's really difficult. Last year playing as a freshman on the offensive line in the Big Ten, that's very difficult. Not only that, you're going to play center. So you're going to touch the football, make the calls every single play. That's really, really hard on a young person. But it's only going to make him better. And this year, he's doing better than he did last year. Still a lot of room for improvement. But the one thing I love about Greg is he wants to get better. He wants to hear what he's not great at. He wants to hear what he did well, and then how he got that done. He's got to do it to the other areas. He's he's very, very, very coachable. And you want that with your offensive line, especially a guy that's going to touch the football all the time. So I thought he had a way better game than he did at Michigan. And he's just going to keep taking those next necessary steps forward.
Has John Joyner developed into a rusher where he gets held a lot? They have to hold him at times?
Yeah, you hope to get those calls, when he is getting held. You want to make sure that you're playing as hard as you can, because that's when holding calls come out. I think holding calls happen when the defensive line's playing as hard as they possibly can. If nobody's really playing hard over there, the hold, it doesn't look like a hold. He plays so hard that a lot of them look like holds, and they are holds, because it's hard to stop them with just one person. But one thing we said that we keep telling them is you got to assume every play you're going to get held. And that'll never be an excuse in our program, ever. Like, we've got to be able to defeat and overcome either the call or maybe the call that wasn't there. Like, you got to overcome that, and you got to find a way. And I thought there were multiple instances he overcame that. And, he's again, another guy from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. It's our job to get players better. And we've always taken a lot of pride in our programs, whether it's Western Michigan or here at Minnesota, to just keep getting better. Just find a way today to be better today than you were yesterday. And just be 1-0. When everything else is a little bit more external with looking to the future and all those other things, we just want to find a way to get better. And I think Ja's focused on that right now. I think this team has been focused on that right now. And I think they've proven that, because there's been a lot of results that can take you way off track really quickly. And then that can snowball. This team has never allowed that to happen. So they're proving to us that they have that 1-0 mentality, that change your best philosophy, that row the boat type mindset. And I told you from the beginning, it's they're probably the most prepared 2-3 team, before this game to go into a game like this. They've seen a lot of things, and I think the more you can see and the hardships you go through make you a better person and a better team, or you choose to be worse. But this team is choosing to be better.
The run defense is.
Go ahead, Ryan.
If the run defense is going to get better, how much of it is just getting healthy, and how much of it is executing at a higher level?
Well, I think it's a combination of both, Ryan. It really is. We got to be able to get healthy. We got a lot of guys fighting through a lot of stuff right now. This is going to be week 7, and then there's a bye week after that. But it's a race. It's a race all the way through, and playing our best football. I think it's a combination. One, you got to give USC a lot of credit. They're really big. They're really physical. Their line is and that was the whole game plan, was can they stay consistent with the run game? And it wasn't like we're going to give them the run game. But if you watched our defense, we're putting a lot of people in coverage, playing a lot of dime, playing a lot of nickel. And I just didn't feel like I felt like they eventually were going to throw the football, that it wasn't going to be consistent over and over, 12 to 13 straight runs. And so the philosophy was, hey, we know what they are on the outside. We know what they are on the perimeter. We know what we got to be able to do, but you're not going to be able to stop everything. So what are you going to be able to force their hand to be able to do? And for us, it was if they were going to stay really, really consistent, committed to the run game. And we have to be better. We have to play better. We have to coach them better. We have to continue to scheme it better. We got to get healthy. Guys are fighting through a lot of different things. We got to be able to tackle through people, not to people. There's sometimes we're just reaching for tackles. So there's a lot of fundamentals and technique. There's some schematic stuff that we're going to be looking at. But again, it's not like, oh, we didn't do this. We were going to do what we needed to do to give us the best chance to beat USC that particular day. And that's all we were concerned about. When you look at the numbers, they're pretty close. Offense, defense, the only big categories was 78%. We were +2 in the turnover margin, right? We turned it over once, they turned it over 3 times, right? The tackling, I think we were +2. We were both around the same. They missed a lot of tackles, so did we. But we broke a lot of tackles. Well, so did they, right? But we were +2 in that category. And then when you got down to the explosive plays, that's where it came into play. I mean, we were +9 in the way we evaluate that. And the way we evaluate our defensive ones, I mean, they had a 21-yard, they had 1, but they fumbled on that play, so it was technically 0. And when you're taking USC and putting them in a position where they don't have any explosive plays, that's the only chance to be able to win. So your question is very valid, but there's also some game plan things that we go into every opponent of what are we going to do? How can we dictate the game? What corner can we force them into? And everybody's trying to do that. That's the chess game, and we just made one more play than they did, but gosh, I mean, they're really difficult to prepare for because their running game is very good. And that back is really, really good. And the quarterback can run. Their O-line's big, strong, physical. And that's not just a drop-back line. That's a Big Ten offensive line right there, and they prove that.
Yeah, I know it's not the Rose Bowl, but what will it be like just to at least play in that stadium?
Well, I think it's, anytime you travel out to Pasadena and go out to the Rose Bowl, I mean, I've never been there, but I kind of compare it a little bit to when I talk about the homecoming dance, when we get to homecoming. Our job is to prepare for a football game, go play our best football on the field for 60 minutes. That is our job. All the other stuff is for everybody else, and I think there's a lot of people here that are really excited about heading out to Pasadena and going out to the Rose Bowl and connecting memories and moments from their families past, Gophers past, and that's really special. Life's about moments and memories. But our job is to find a way to be 1-0 and play our best football game we played of the year against a good UCLA team that, if you really study them and watch them, they've got a lot of talent in every area.
You mentioned Max's brain earlier. How was your experience with him? It influenced how you would think about transfer quarterbacks down the road. I know there was a unique circumstance this year, but it seems like it's gone pretty smoothly.
It really has, and I think, the number one player that gets scrutinized and under the microscope the most is always a quarterback in the game of football. And first of all, you got to be able to handle that. And I think he handles that in always a first-class way. He's the first one to think about what he can do better when things aren't right, and he's the first one to give people credit when credit comes. That's a very unique quality to have and find if it's authentic. Anybody can say it, but can people actually do it? There's a big difference between knowing and doing. And he knows it, and he does it, and it's real, and it's authentic, and that's who he is. So at any time we're looking at a leader of the football team in the quarterback position, that's going to be the number one trait. Can they handle the position mentally, physically, emotionally? Can they handle that piece that comes with the position? And I think he's done that. So, of course, when you're looking in future quarterbacks, guys within our program right now, I mean, Drake Lindsey's just studying Max Brosmer, and he's got so much he can learn from him. And as you continue to go, but that's what you want from day one. And all the other stuff's great. We talk about accuracy and arm talent and the ability to feel the pocket, create the second play, get us in the right play. But Max's brain, he processes at such a high level because he prepares at such a high level. He's really smart, but I've seen a lot of smart people that can't process and function that quickly. I think that's when you see really elite NFL quarterbacks and you see average quarterbacks. It's the processing level. How fast can they get to the next read? Because whatever hole that you just saw in the NFL that was that big, well, now it just became that big by a millisecond. And so that's one of his greatest traits he has, and he's a great leader, and I'm glad he's our quarterback.
EJ, how fun is it to see Coy almost set a standard now for impacting a game? Michigan game, the punt return, for instance, and had some big plays Saturday night, including the interception. It seems like he's setting a standard to impact a game.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great football player. And he's just scratching the surface, Dave. I mean, he really is special in the way that he approaches the game. I've always said, like, what I love about Antoine Winfield Jr. is there's always a smile on his face. What I love about Tyler Newman, there was always a smile on his face. There is always a smile on this kid's face. Not only there's a smile on his face, there's always hope in his eyes. And he's the hope. Like, he's the solution. He's the confidence. Like, he's the reason. Like, that's always in his eyes. And it doesn't matter, Dave, what he's doing. You want to go play him in pickleball? Good luck. You want to play him in bocce ball, so you're sitting there saying, well, I'm not as athletic as you. Play him in bocce ball. He's one of the most competitive people I've ever met. But you saw that, and that's why everybody in the country wanted him. But I think it's a great lesson for just so many like of our in-state recruits. Look at what happened on Saturday with Coy Perich, a true freshman, kid who could go anywhere in the country. I mean, listen, nobody's crowning him anything. People are lifting him off the field. Our student body has got him on their shoulder, him on their shoulders. That doesn't happen if he goes other places, in my opinion, especially as a freshman. And that moment, that memory, and what he's able to do and the impact he can make. Think about and we've had so many in-state kids been able to stay here and have great experiences and do a lot of similar things, but he's the most recent example. And so when you're looking as a 25, a 26, a 27, that's what we tell them. And then it's one thing to tell somebody something that's like, well, look, and I'm not saying everybody is that, but if we're recruiting you and you're in state and we're talking about those types of things, that was living proof, staying home, of what that can do and that environment that we've created. And I think that's really special for the state of Minnesota. And Coy's playing at a high level. And here's the thing, he can play at even a higher level. And he's making plays when they present himself, but the attention to detail within the fundamentals, he can continue to get better. The scheme, he can continue to get better in that. But he just has this football sense. He's not perfect, everybody. Like, nobody should ever expect perfection from any one of these players or myself. We hold that standard, but nobody's ever going to reach it. But he's going to have highs and lows and ups and downs, but he's going to do it with a smile on his face and a real competitive spirit, and that's all you can ask for.
AJ, I always talk about the importance of finishing drives. We were 2 for 2 on 4th down and 4 for 4 in the red zone. Can't get much better than that.
Yeah, I thought that what we didn't do well on defense was we didn't create enough 3rd and longs. USC's 3rd down offense was better than our 3rd down offense. But to your point, our 4th down, we kind of spin into our 3rd down percentages as well at times, because it's not just 3rd down, it's the end of the possession. What happened at the end of the possession? Did we have to punt, or did it continue on? That's how I look at it. So when you throw that 4th down in there, I think we're close to 50%, which is a better statistic. But our 3rd down defense has to get better when it comes down to, being able to get off the field and create 3rd and longs. But playing one of the most explosive, best offenses in the country. And we've played some of the best offenses in the country. We've played some of the best defenses in the country. And, we're finding out a lot about our football team very early, midway through the season. We found out a lot. And now we have to apply those lessons. And that was a whole lesson yesterday, was just apply everything we've learned. Don't judge. Don't stop. Let the other guy get tired, and let's go. Like, we have to go. We have to get better. And they were able to do that. So. Yeah, and that was going to be important. You cannot waste opportunities when you're playing a team that's ranked in the top 12. I mean, you can't. I think that's, I think you guys are all, you know enough about football to understand that, right? And I thought, they had one opportunity where they missed a field goal. That game came down to the takeaways and the missed field goal. Because everybody's going to be talking about, well, if you would have done this and if you would have done, that's all hindsight. You've got to execute while it's called. I would never have loved to fumble that ball. And we feel like we gave them 3 points when we fumbled the football. That could possibly be a 6-point swing with a field goal for us and a non-field goal for them. Could have been a 10-point swing. No field goal for them, 7 points for us. And I felt like we were managing what we were doing very well. I mean, it was like 50-some seconds. It was perfect. Still had our timeout. We were going down the field. I think we were near the 40, 45. It was perfect because we did not want to give them the ball back either. As a head coach, you're always thinking not about just the possession right now. You're thinking about the next possession, and then you're thinking about the next possession after that. You've got to be 2-3 possessions out when you're making decisions. And, it was good that we scored, that's for sure.
What do you see from UCLA?
Yeah, I mean, we just started them last night, but I'll say this, and not sure which quarterback's going to play, but they got 2 quarterbacks that can win games. One's a really good athlete, that is more known for his passing. The other one's a young player that's getting an opportunity as a redshirt sophomore of going out there and doing his thing like he did last week, and he can do it with his feet. He can do it with his arm. He was really accurate, made a ton of plays for him last week. So we got to prepare for both. They got an experienced offensive line with a lot of returning starters. They've got really good skill on the outside. They got possession receivers, guys that can move the sticks. They got guys that can be explosive. They got a deep backfield. On the defensive side of the ball, they're deep in a lot of positions. I mean, they fly around. They play with incredible effort. They're good up front. They're big up front. 2 inside guys are really, really tough and big. And I know they're going to get some guys, some back this week too. So, still in the early stages of us evaluating them and looking at them. Specialists that are really consistent. So we got to play our best football. Every week from here on out, it's going to call for the best football game we played all year, period. And that's the message to the team. That's what it's going to continue to be. We have a lot of data that we have to respond from, and we need to do that in practice and during the week and then get it done on game day.
Final one for Coach, or is everyone all set?
Is there a teaching moment for Wally there with that late penalty?
Yeah, I figured somebody was going to ask me that. You could have just shut that off. I'm just kidding. You know me. Like, what we talk to our players all the time about is celebrate with each other, celebrate with the team. And I think that in our world right now, I think, we're talking about everybody should, express themselves, rightfully so. But we're allowing some things to maybe happen, some things not to happen. Sometimes we're flagging a particular move, sometimes we're not. And so our whole thing to counter that is don't leave it up to somebody to interpret something the wrong way, because they're only seeing the action. They don't know what you're doing and who you're doing that for and what part of the new age society move that is, or what dance move that is, or what thing on TikTok that is. They have no idea, right? They're just seeing a movement, and they're leaving it up to themselves and saying, is that proper, or is that a unsportsmanlike conduct? So don't leave it up to somebody else. Celebrate with each other. It's a great learning moment for our team. It happened to a very experienced player, right? And we're not going to say, well, it was just this or it was just that. Again, you left it up to somebody to be able to dictate the game by something we did by ourselves for ourselves. And that's a great moment to learn of why we say, remember, anybody can ever ask me, why do you do this? Why do you teach the way you do? Why do you have the culture you have? Why do we teach them celebrate with your teammates? As long as it's not choreographed, because that will get a flag too. But celebrate with your teammates, that never gets called. But when you all of a sudden step outside of that and make it a single movement, it draws all the eyes to you, and then somebody's going to determine whether that's, like I said, appropriate or an unsportsmanlike conduct, period. So we learned a lot from that, and I'm glad that didn't cost us.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Row the boat, Sky Mago Gophers. Thanks.